Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Miss Kim coming to you live from Gaborone, Botswana. I hope you're joining us from, could you be on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and which part of the world are you joining us from? Please drop it on the comment section. As discussed previously, we're going to be having a lot of these conversations. We were looking at this is our Africa, and we need to take care of it. And we're also looking at the crisis we find ourselves in, and nobody's coming to save us. We need to save ourselves. And yes, we acknowledge there's a lot of work getting done. There's a lot of work we've been doing, but is it enough? So join us. Let's have that conversation. And let's also look into what more can be done. How can we improve ourselves, empower ourselves economically? How can we leverage on the resources we have? And currently, how can we mitigate the climate change crisis that we find ourselves in? And we discussed that. Can we be able to access not just resources, but skills that are much needed? So we know, we appreciate, and we keep talking about youth, our future, our children, our future, just ensuring that we give them the right skills. But can we walk the talk? Can it stop being just another conversation we're having? But ensure that we are living that. We're ensuring that the next generation is prepped, they're ready, they have the skills they need. And I'm joined by Dr. Ras, plus my dogs. I just hope they'll be respectful and not be too noisy. I chose to do this podcast from home because we have a center that's a bit busy. But then I think the dogs are also busy.
Hello, Miss Kim. Hello, everyone. I hope you are getting reconnected. I'm not sure if anyone can hear me or if I'm just talking to myself. But we're at Diaries of an African STEM Queen. It is Thursday, October 24th, 2024. And it is 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. GMT time. And it is 10 o'clock EST time. How is everyone doing? Hey, Miss Kim, are you back? Think she might be frozen, but we're here to talk about an exciting STEAM education camp and a very involved individual, Miss Kim, and all the work that she's doing specifically with Destination Imagination Botswana, with the Green Rangers Boot Camp coming up, which is lining up to be pretty exciting hybrid activity or a few days of events. So 3 days, 2 nights of a camp, which they'll be learning, doing some safari, so learning about sustainability and outside, but also how technology and AI technology is integrated into re-establishing a connection with your environment in a protective, safe way. So thank you guys for joining us. Or watching on the replay. All right, so I'm not sure what's going on here, but hopefully I'm still in the show. Maybe if someone can give a thumbs up in the chat, if you can hear me. I'm not sure. Oh, we hear excellent. Okay. Well, hopefully I'll stay connected and Miss Kim will be on. But thank you guys for being here. We have an exciting show, and since I got a confirmation, the talk today is actually about climate action through STEAM education. And if you don't know, STEAM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So, how can we use educational training and learning as well as technology in a terminal degree in these different areas? And how does that lead to careers in sustainability, and also careers that promote science, technology, research, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Sorry, I got a little stumbled there, guys. But again, we're talking about climate in action, and we want you to join us as we explore the climate action through the power of education, and that's STEAM education specifically. So we have with this some challenges and opportunities. And before we get to that, let me just introduce myself. I am Dr. Ross, that's RAS of GNN, Getty's Neural Network. And Dr. Ross is short for Rostafa, but I am really a scientist. So it makes it a great way to explain how I'm a doctor and a scientist. So I study neurotrauma endocrinology, and that's just brain damage and hormones. But in any case, within that, I have a few degrees, but one of them is a PhD in neuroscience and neuroanatomy with a focus on actually brain surgeries. And so that is a STEM career or a STREAM career. So I have a terminal degree in that. So I'm able to educate in the space of biomedical education under STEAM, STEM, or STREAM when you add research, of course, for STREAM. So hopefully Ms. Kim will get connected back here. And as we begin, though, we want to focus on Africa. By the way, where am I? I'm in College Park, Atlanta, which is near Atlanta in Georgia in the United States. And I'm a colleague and hopefully a dear friend of Miss Kim, and a great support of everything she does, and Destination Imagination Africa. And specifically with this boot camp coming up, the Green Rangers boot camp. So we're looking to talk about that and how we can get some support and also promote that for the individuals coming up. So, the Africa faces significant climate risk, including droughts, floods, and rising sea levels. These challenges disproportionately impact vulnerable populations, exacerbating existing inequalities and hindering development. So, climate change is very important, impactful, and can be very disruptive. Also, the digital divide. What is the digital divide? Well, we live in a digital age where everything that we do incorporates technology and digital technology. And so, with that, um, resources in that space is not equally distributed amongst the population or individuals, and therefore there's limited access to things like the internet. There's digital literacy and to infrastructures which hinder the participation in the digital economy. So digital finance, right? Restricting the access to essential information as well as services for vulnerable communities. And so we know who these communities are. A lot of them are us. And if not, they're our neighbors. But bridging this divide is crucial for unlocking Africa's potential for innovation and progress. I'm going to check the chat to go on to see if there's any questions, but I want to focus on with Africa, specific the potential of the youth. So Africa's youth population is a significant asset for its development here and in the future. Investing in STEAM education empowers them to become agents of what? Agents of change and driving economic growth as well as sustainable solutions. And so sustainable solutions is a really, really important thing if we think about society, where we are and where we want to go, and the population of the world. So give me a sec here, kind of double timing. If you have any questions, please put in the chat. I see there's a comment there. Hey, Stanley, how you doing? Thanks for having you back. So Stanley has a question here. Thank you, Dr. Ross. One question for you. What specific projects or innovations led by young African talents have you found most impactful in addressing environmental changes, and how can donors help scale these initiatives? Okay. So I'm going to answer this in reverse. Donors can help scale these initiatives by getting in contact with specifically with Miss Kim or myself here, I can get you in contact with Miss Kim. You can just reach out to Destination Imagination Africa to get a direct contact for what we're personally doing or have our hands on, but also, staying in tune to what's going on with international global organizations such as World Health Organization, WHO, or the United Nations as well. But specifically, so I know there is a big effort with the scientific review institution, and these guys, the SRI, they are a global organization that actually responds to climate change and changes in the environment, specifically due to disasters, natural disasters, and they allow for a culmination of information and access for scientists and researchers to help prepare for the next natural disaster. And so within that, that is a global organization that have reached. So if you have a smaller organization that needs resources or needs help, I think that's a good organization to reach out to. And I'll put the specific information in the link. There are other smaller youth-led organizations. Hello? But specifically in climate change, I would have to resort to Miss Kim to speak about these specific organizations in her community or individuals that are leading the charge in that area. I have more of a sky view. Miss Kim, are you back with us?
Yes.
Okay, I think she's almost back. So still working on a little bit of audio. So but thank you, Stanley, for that question. And again, if these organizations, if you're here listening or listening in review, please put your information in the chat so we can make that connection. Um, let me see if there's any other questions while Miss Kim gets back in tune. See here. So speaking of specific, thinking of specific areas we can talk about. Now, when you think about Africa, I think, and now you're talking about climate and climate change. So we're talking about nature, and this is why the Green Rangers um, s- boot camp is going to be excellent to talk about. But understanding how everyone is in fear of technology, not everyone, but there's a big fear in technology and technology taking you away from the natural in nature, but we can actually use our advances in understanding in technology to actually get a more intimate understanding of the environment and nature around us, and how do we actually fit into that. And so a lot of this is thinking about sustainability efforts, and when you think about sustainability efforts, so definitely then think about the United Nations and their 17 sustainability goals, right? So in that area, there's a lot to do, from you think about food security and famine all the way to housing and security in that respect. Residential security. You can think about financial security in all of these areas. But agriculture is a very big one, and ag technology as well is a big place to pay a part to. So if you're a smaller organization, you want to put some of these things on your mission or your preview. Miss Kim, are you back? Okay, almost. So, as far as agricultural technology, and if we want to do, if there's any questions about that, there's a lot of things that AI technology can help you with. And then, everything starts from minerals. If you even think about the AI technology itself, and you think about the chips that we use and that are needed and the materials that go into that, right? I think this has highly impacted the diamond industry, which is actually very important to Botswana and the economy of Botswana, right? So now, even understanding that if computers and the digital technology is what is spearheading economies around the world, and natural minerals are needed for that, then it's time to start to think about how do you expand your portfolio for the future and what the future economy and technology is. So understanding how the minerals and your environment around you can be or is the foundation of current technology, I think is a great place to begin. Um, we often think about the user end or on the consumer end, but we have to start thinking about on the beginning end of technology, right? You have to have resources, and those resources are natural minerals. So understanding that, and then the process of production, right, and producing these technologies. Then, how do you understand the utilization of these technologies on the creative side? And then, what does that mean on the retail and the user side? So, if we have an approach like that, then we'll have a more entrepreneurial approach to what we're thinking about as a career, as well as how you engage what you like and your motivation into what you want to do. Hey, Miss Kim, it seems like I'm rambling, but I hope I'm not. I hope some of this information is useful. It looks like you're back. How is your audio? Oh, we almost had her back. So again, Dr. Ross here, representing for the Happiness Tribe, a whole bunch of things, Getty's Neural Network, but of course, Destination Imagination, Africa at the Botswana, specifically for the boot camp that we have coming up. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So the STEAM, cultivating change makers, is what we're trying to do. And so we'd like to take an interdisciplinary approach to blend science, which is really cool, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, which are equally cool, problem solving skills, which is very important, developing critical thinking skills for real world situations. If you guys don't know, and the educators that are listening, PBL, you should know. And if you don't, you got to check it out. But problem or project based learning, which is basically hands on learning, it's shown scientifically to actually lead to faster comprehension, but also the translation of skills and to, you know, retain that learning longer. Furthermore, we want to importantly, from customers to creators, which is what I was just kind of rambling on about, but speaking about that difference in empowering the youth to drive them as innovators, right? And not just users of the technology, but innovators and creators and developers of this technology. Um, so, the Green Tech Rangers Empowerment, Empowering Action. We will have some hands on projects building solar devices and eco gardens. If you don't know what eco gardens are, well, again, it's using technology to garden. The good thing about AI technology, especially now with Gen AI, is that we can take real time data and incorporate that into the responses, into the answers that you're seeking in real time. So it's taking the information that you not only gathered previously to be at where you're at, but then how do you take what's really happening right now? Say you're gardening um, tomatoes or just any fruit or vegetable, right? And you can take into account the change in weather. If there's a sudden rain, or being able to account for if there's a drought and how to water more efficiently so you save the water. Also, finding more efficient routes to take when you are moving your crops from farm to market, right? Saving on gas and efficiency and all of these kind of things. Being able to save in these little different areas is the beauty of AI. Is there's so many different spaces to become efficient at that you collectively put it together. There's definite benefits in so many areas, especially when you get into not only farming and nutrition, which is the basis of everything we have to eat, but also when you get into health and you think about medicine, right? Then education and finance, it's just, it crosses everything. It's ubiquitous. So that digital divide, which side do you want to be on? It's very important to think about that. Okay, so as I go on, we talked about the hands-on projects. We'll have expert mentorship as well. We'll have guidance from STEM educators as well as environmental field uh, instructors. So we'll be on a safari, right? We'll be able to interact not only with the animals, the local animals, and seeing um, what animals and how they interact with the environment, which is very beautiful, but also how is the technology impacting our activities out in nature, including being able to understand climate and weather and seasonal changes, right? That's very important then, because then we can use this information to then take action, which is climate advocacy. So using art and technology to raise awareness is very important. Miss Kim, are you back?
Yes, I am. And
You.
thank you so much. You're just
No
amazing,
problem.
Dr. Rice. You're just amazing.
Welcome
Yeah,
back. Thank you. How about you reintroduce yourself?
thank you. Yes, I don't even know where to start and where we were. And maybe the internet has done justice to my introduction, just confirming that yes, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the ground. Because if we don't sort out our infrastructure, then we are limited to much more. Yeah, so Miss Kim, that's my name, and I'm joining you from a sunny, hot Botswana. Much more the reason we are concerned about climate change, a conversation that we need to have closely on our fourth episode of Diaries of Africa's 10 Queen. And the topic is we want to discuss climate action through STEAM education. But then I am so sure you've covered a lot with our very awesome guest. And thank you so much, Dr. Ras. We seem to be having serious infrastructure challenges, like you have seen. I've been kicked in and out. And even as I join you, I don't know for how long I'm going to be here. So let's get into it. Dr. Ras, you've long done your intro. Or do you want to say something again?
Kim, yes. So Miss Kim, we're at creating impact, our journey. So I kind of brought him up to that point and talking about the importance of not only getting back to nature, but how do we utilize the ubiquitousness of technology, the fact that technology is in everything. How do we use that to actually reconnect with nature and the importance of what the Green Rangers Boot Camp teaches and exposes the students to, and letting them know that it's a on the ground hands-on experience, but also it's a hybrid experience because there's a virtual component, but it's really emphasizing how the future, with how your educational career and what you do and what you learn goes into your career choices, and how you can actually use your passion to then get a better understanding of not only your environment but the technology that is taking over said environment. Oh, here we go. We back solo again. All right, folks. Well, as you can see, I am ready for the safari with my safari hat. I'm ready for the boot camp, even though I am in College Park, Georgia. I will be attending virtually. So if you guys have or would like to support some virtual students attending as well, we have very affordable packages for some virtual experience for these students to do like a design-a-thon and to do a non-code-a-thon. So being able to use technology to design actually some sneakers or some outfits, as well as being able to tell a story and to add pictures to those stories. So using the technology to amplify your thoughts and your expressions about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And how can what you're studying and what you learn can impact your environment in a positive way? We talk about carbon footprint, and we talk about also your digital life, right? These things are important because our young folks are growing up in a world that is drastically different from the world that we grew up in, where you're spending more and more of your time in this digital space and building a digital twin, if you will, of your physical self. And so, just like how you carry yourself in the physical world and you have limits and boundaries, the same thing should be done in the digital world. And then that brings us right back to cybersecurity and digital literacy. And so, STEAM and STREAM and STEM education is so important no matter what you do. Um, so with that, the creating we want to create a journey where the boot camps across Africa. So Botswana is just one destination, a very important one and close to heart. But this is an opportunity and experience that needs to scale. And meaning scale, meaning it needs to reach more communities and more individuals. And so training the next generation of leaders is very important, and by expanding is the only way we're going to do that. What are we expanding? Well, we're expanding eco-friendly solutions, developing solar, robotic, and farming innovations. And these things should do a number of things. Not only educate these individuals on possibilities and open their minds to possibilities, but also it's going to grow a network and a network of change makers, of individuals who think differently and therefore will act differently. So building a community for lasting impact. Oh, if you guys can see some of these beautiful pictures I'm speaking and where I'm talking about is Mokolodi, sorry, boot camp, which is in Botswana here. Give me a second. Let me check the chat and see if I have any more comments. I have a few. Let me check in with the audience, see what's going on. I'm pretty sure Stanley got us going with some things. Hello, Zolani. Appreciate you being here. And you have some comments as well. So let me check in on that. Thank you guys for participating. Okay, seems like I missed a lot. How can STEAM, this is from Stanley again, how can STEAM education, particularly in rural and under-resourced communities, be strengthened to ensure every young person has access to tools they need for climate innovation? Well, Stanley, the first thing is being connected. As you can see, as the trouble we're having now, the community itself, not just the youth, connection is the first thing and is the basis. So I think, and there's a very important and a good organization actually, DG Radiance, and is a pretty good organization you guys can look up. But a colleague of mine, which I think might have a solution for this connectivity issue, very brilliant young man, and so DG Radiance, check it out, and then you tell me what that's about. That's your homework. But thank you, Stanley. Why don't you? All right, thank you for that. So what they can do to get more access is basically we need to be connected as a community digitally into the digital infrastructure. Thank you, Zolani. I'm joining from South Africa. I've attended and contributed to the Education for Africa Di- Dialogics, excuse me, Summit, the EADIS, Africa and Africa's Voices dialogue yesterday and Monday. Well, I would like to know more about that. And could you, thank you for your contribution to the community. Could you put a link in the chat, please, so we can learn about that if our audience and guests want to learn some more? And I'm absolutely interested in myself to learn about the efforts that you did yesterday and about this summit. And if you want to summarize something in the chat, you can as well. Let's see here. All right, Zalani, you also said technology is key in harnessing the African natural resources, and technology has a critical role to play on that value chain. Yes, value chain is what I spoke about before. It must be introduced at the basic education level with decolonized education system and curriculum. Yes, okay. Now, it's layered and accurate. So yes, to answer that, the natural resources and what I spoke about, technology is very critical. So you're bringing up a point, something I mentioned before when we talk about the value chain from um, what is technology created out of, right? Don't start at the user end as a customer, but understand from the creative and from the beginning of what is the origin, right? And that'll give you a better understanding of where value is along the process. Okay, And yes, it must be basic education level. I absolutely agree. And there's no way to deny, again, the second part of that statement as far as the negative impact of colonialized education. But um, education from the earliest point is so vital that, believe it or not, you need to begin as early as kindergarten exposing kids to STEM, STEAM, and STREAM. I absolutely agree 1000%. All right, Stanley, I wish I was there in the boot camp. Yes, we wish you was here too. You've got very good energy. You like the attention. So you have the three keys to success, Stanley. And let me just put this out there since this is talking about education and learning. But so my three keys to success are the three A's, right? Is attendance, attention, and application. So, Stanley, you show up, you pay attention, and you apply yourself. I guarantee 1000% you'll be successful. And so, if you was at the boot camp with the way that you show up at the show here and the way that you pay attention and have astute questions that foster conversation, I think I just need to hear from you what you're doing out in the world to demonstrate that you're applying it. And I can say, this man is successful, and I guarantee you are. So tell us what you're doing out in the world, Stanley. We really appreciate it. And absolutely, just as he said, what role do you see in the happiness tribe, THT, in fostering creativity and resilience amongst the youth? Well, it is a podium. THT is a podium and a community, a space where you can come and learn and understand and define what happiness is to you and build that community around you and what you want to do so it doesn't take away from your life but integrate and be a part of your life. So it offers a origin and a place to begin to understand with like-minded people that's just on a similar search as you. Let me go through a little more rapid here so I can catch up. But let's see. Can you share any past success stories from similar boot camps where participants have created innovative solutions for climate action or sustainability? Absolutely. And there's definitely some on some old links that you can see because Ms. Kim is not camera shy and neither are the kids. So there's some beautiful pictures, and I'll have Miss Kim tell some personal stories about that. Um, I have seen the DG Radiance. Exactly, he's doing his homework. I told you this young man here, Stanley. He shows up and he shows out. I have seen the DG Radiance, probably everything we need from data analysis to cybersecurity and IT infrastructure. Do you teach young adults all of these? If not me directly, absolutely in GNN, Getty's Neural Network. We absolutely do, and partners beyond, within the network and beyond. But yes, there's absolutely education is primary for what we do in every which way. How much do you charge per child, and how long does it take? Well, the fact of that is an interesting question. And now we're in an interesting time because it's personalized education. And we're at a great time where we can understand the individual, the type of learner they are, and then what tools we need to bring to that individual. And then it's also circumstance based. So, personally, I can't answer or give a direct number to that. Hello, Yalcine. How are you? Hi. How can we enhance STEAM education in rural and under-resourced communities to empower youth with the skills and resources needed to drive climate change? That's an easy one. And thank you for that question. We can do that by normalizing learning. That's the simple answer, by normalizing learning, because you have to learn. Even if you want to do nothing, you have to learn how to do nothing. So learning is essential for everything. And so by being able to partnership with the right individuals, communities, the right organizations, government structures or private, public, building the right community that you can offer something to and they can offer something to you in fair exchange. It's not always about finance, but resources. Finding the right resources to build off, and then also think about stacking or integrated learning. where the first thing you learn is going to be necessary for the second thing you learn. And one and two is going to be necessary to learn three. And one, two, and three is going to be necessary to learn four. If you do compound learning like that, it's a very interesting way to tie everything together and also solidify what they learn and able to translate and transfer that learning then to their real lives and real time. So again, resources and connecting with individuals with resources, but more importantly, and the most importantly, is being a resource. The more you are a resource, the more resources you will have. So my final answer that is be a resource. Hey, Miss Kim, are you back? Or are you playing peekaboo? What are we doing? Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're playing peekaboo. I have tried to get on top of the.
Mute one of your devices. And while you mute one of your devices, let me just speak about the boot camp real quick. Again, it's the Mokolodi Nature Reserve for 3 days. We have 70 learners engaged in STEAM workshop activities, and the investment is very small. It's only $270 per learner for a bright future. So if you can't physically get there, but you support the effort, you want to support, we are open to the investment and to get these children not only in the right mindset, but the right activities to be impactful in our community. So, Miss Kim, are you back and situated? Let me know. Give me a smile and a wave when you're ready. If not, we'll go to supporting the future and investing in STEAM. We got a smile and a wave. Let's hear it, Miss Kim. What you got for us?
Well, I think I'm coming too late to the party, so I'm here to cheer you on. And plus, I'm speaking from the tallest tree in my neighborhood. I just had to get on top of the tree to ensure I could get the right network. So it's anytime I fall off the branches. So I'm gonna take your lead on this.
Okay, well, I think Miss Kim just put a STEAM challenge out there. What can you kids build that will keep someone safely in a tree so they can actually do their podcast? If you can develop that by the time of the boot camp, maybe we'll have some angel investors there that will invest in your idea, and now we can keep Miss Kim safe up in the tree to be able to do the podcast. So I think we have our first challenge for the Green Rangers boot camp.
That is a
so,
super awesome one.
so Miss Kim, we're actually at a perfect time to hear your voice. We're at supporting the future and investing in STEAM. So, can you talk to me about sponsoring a learner and changing a child's life?
Yes, and thank you. A very good question. So we've been on this donor space for quite some years, and we've seen the impact we've created, and this is what keeps us going. We have, I think, our first cohort is about to graduate. So what we look for is we could do partnerships where we get into we align ourselves with your goals, your missions. We have a lot of organizations that are looking at setting feet in Africa, and we can assist you literally any part, in country, in sub-Saharan Africa, East, West, Central, and South Africa. We're well versed with what happens within there. There's obviously the buy-in that you always have to get when you bringing your product or your projects into the continent. You have to appease the gods of the policymakers. So we're very good at that. I think that's one of our superpowers. We're very good. We're very well networked. We also have very active social media platforms. So it can be a win-win situation. Besides the just the philanthropy feeling of wanting to do good, I think we all know what we get from doing good. The gratification we get by serving humanity. You can't put a price on it. So there's that, which we get a lot of organizations coming to us and saying, this is my mission and this is the problem I want to solve within country X.
and we get on the ground. We come up with the roadmap. What does it take for us to run an implementation? We have testing grounds where, depends on what you want to do, then we tell you this is the best country for us to do a prototype. So let's run the prototype. It can be 6 months, can be 3 months, can be 1 year. And then from there, your research is done and you get to know the case study. The case study is here. It's well presented. We work with very skilled researchers that get on the ground, and then you get to know, are you ready to scale? So what you give us back is what we give back, what we put back into our social community responsibility projects, which we work strongly with university students, high school kids, and primary school kids. We also work with educators where we do teacher training projects. And we also work with corporates. Corporates invite us to go and train, especially right now, we're very busy with anything to do with artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, climate action, STEAM education, digitalization, which is something that's like literally every country within the continent is quickly moving into that, and change management, which is critical. How do we get people to transition into this new world? So those are some of the services we offer, but you can see a lot as well in our various websites. We run a publishing company as well, which sometimes you get organizations that want to buy our books, and then we agree on 50% of the income generated goes to our projects. We have a lot of ebooks and we have physical books, which speak to technology. We're just about to launch one on digital marketing, which is it's a pain to a lot of companies, especially as we talk about marketing is now data driven. But how many organizations know what that means and how to do that? So it's a playbook that helps organizations. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have, Miss Kim, and you answering my questions only lead to more questions. So, haha, gotcha. No, so I have a couple more questions on that, right? So, with now the investment, you're saying that you'll do some research. Let me back up a little bit. So, I want to know as whether I'm a philanthropist or a corporation, and given the time of year, I'm feeling very gifty. I want to give. Um, and so you mentioned about research and collecting some data and showing impact. So with that, would I be able, as an investor, to have access to that data, or how much of that data will I have access to be able to demonstrate what my investment did?
We're very transparent with data, because I mean it's important for you to understand what did your what did your hard earned money do. So we share the feedback. We also track the learner's journey. So let's say you want to know, you funded us to do a boot camp at Mokolodi, and you sponsored 10 children. How exactly do they perform? So we do a live session. We first collect data to first identify. We do a survey, a pre-survey, to find out where are these children before we start. Then 1 week later, these are the questions they're able to answer. This is their understanding of the environment, of climate action. This is what they think about coding, robotics, artificial intelligence. This is how they're looking at the world with new lenses. So we give you that feedback, which we document. There's a lot of that information. Our impact reports are there on our website. And then for specific cases, like this is a particular boot camp and this is the donor. So we prepare that specifically for that. Be it 3 days, 1 week, 2 months, we collect all that data. So once we're done with the students, we go back and we do what we call post survey. So we interview the children, we collect that information, and then we tell you this is what the kids have learned. Make sense?
Awesome. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So I know with this boot camp coming up, you're slated to have 70 learners engaged. I believe that's 70 on the ground, and I'm not sure what your online capacity is. And I believe, if I'm misquoting, you can let me know, but I believe the online is about a tenth of what it is in person. So if you're doing just the virtual component, I believe that's around a $30 or $40 cost. but the on the ground though, in person, with the 70 learners engaging in this workshop, how many of these learners do you have so far for this coming up, and do you need sponsorship for additional learners, or how's that going?
Thank you, Dr. Russ. Currently, our target is 70 learners on the ground. We are on 46 learners. We have a shortfall, which we are hoping to get sponsors for those. And then we are looking at 100 learners virtually, because as much as it's virtual and we extend it to everyone, they still need attention. So maximum we're gonna have 170. We also make it, even if it's virtual, it is quite engaging. There'll be a lot of back and forth with still the virtual ones. And the fee for the virtual learners, the ones who access it virtually, is $40. We try to make this as affordable as possible. And sometimes also we get donations in kind. So like right now, we're looking for virtual reality sets. So if we get virtual reality sets, that offsets our budget. So you find us going back to parents or learners and telling them you don't have to pay $40 anymore. You can pay $30. You can pay $20. Another company comes and says, I'm going to sort out your data. I'll help you with your internet connectivity. So you write off that. So that's how it works.
Okay, so speaking of in kind, because the holidays is coming around, and people like to be kind. When you speak of in kind now, I know you mentioned that digitally, you guys, drones are very important. Laptops are very important, right? So what are your top three needs in kind in that space?
I love this question. The team would be so happy to be right here to answer this. But right now, the critical issue is virtual reality sets. That's number one. Number two, we need drones. We're struggling with drones. And number three, we need to upgrade our robots. Laptops, we have about 70 laptops that does the job pretty well, because also we do project-based learning. So often we group our children or our learners to three groups of three or five, so they're able to share resources. But the critical thing right now, virtual reality sets, drones, and upgrading our robots. That would be very much appreciated.
Thank you, Miss Kim. So while I check the chats to see if there's any questions, can you let them know how to get in touch with you if they wanted to sponsor, whether student online, whether online experience, a in-person experience, or they want to sponsor something in kind? How and who do they reach out to?
Thank you. So we have PayPal accounts. We also have banking details. So I'm happy to drop that. You can DM me, and I can also drop the PayPal account on the comment section for all the platforms. We have quite a number of individual donors that just get on the PayPal account and put anything that you can. I mean, we're very happy to receive $10, $20. It adds up. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. That $10 you donate to us knocks off a bill, and it goes to one person $10, another 20, another 10, and it just does add up. Plus, it's the thought that counts. So as well, you might find you can't be able to donate, but you know organizations that can donate, or you want to share our proposal, or you want to comment on our pages so that we can get more reach, or you want to come and say, I know of this other television company that can host you, that can talk about your project, and we can get more ears just getting to know you.
Okay, think we might have a little blip there, but thank you for that information, Miss
Engagements
Kim.
or
Oh, here
training
you go.
boot camps, which helps a lot on offsetting the bills because then I'm giving my service. So I'm open to speaking engagements, which you can still pay as in kind or you can pay as in cash. It could be local, it could be abroad. Those are conversations we are happy to get. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kim. Really appreciate that
Is it your
information.
time to freeze, Dr. Ras?
I don't know. Can you hear me or no? You cannot hear me? Can you
Hey,
hear me?
Dr. Ras.
No? Yes? No.